Hello Raptors fans and welcome to Raptors Report. Today we're going to be looking at the tough injury to Pascal Siakam, his excellent play leading up to it, as well as some surprises and disappointments to start the season. Let's jump right in. Well, after having a really crappy week and a half with COVID, I'm back and ready to talk about the Raptors. Unfortunately, my sense of smell is still on the fritz, and one of my favorite savory flavors, vinegar, now smells and tastes like chlorine. Mayonnaise, ketchup, mustard, hot sauce, you name it, it has that horrible chemical smell attached. Thankfully, the smell coming from the Raptors has been pretty great, apart from one particularly stinky element. Prior to the season, much was made of the Raptors' early schedule, with what looked like an extremely tough string of matches against the assumed powerhouses of the Eastern Conference. Fast forward to the present, and many of the teams who were assumed to be among the elite in the Eastern Conference are struggling, and in the case of the Nets, completely floundering to begin the season. Despite having a few games that they wish that they could do over, the Raptors have, in my opinion, had a great start to the season. This promising start was largely propelled by the emergent MVP caliber play of Pascal Siakam, who was dominant in every single game he played prior to his unfortunate groin injury. Siakam is averaging over 25 points per game, almost 10 rebounds and almost 8 assists on 57% true shooting, and is boasting an impressive 36% from 3 on 4.5 shots per game, which is a very welcome surprise considering that could be categorized as one of his only flaws as a player. Impressively, Siakam's excellence was not fully captured by the stats. You have to watch the man play in order to get a sense of what kind of player he's truly become. Siakam's ability to process the game on offense has taken another leap forward. His understanding of when to attack the rim, when to pass, when to pull up for a shot, who to pass to, and controlling the tempo of the game are all at an elite level. His ability to read the defense and understand the coverages has progressed to the level where there is no great way to defend him. In single coverage, he scores, and as soon as you bring help, he's finding the open man for a fantastic shot opportunity, either at the rim or at the three-point line. With Siakam being so dominant to begin the season, it's actually rather depressing that he'll be out for the next few weeks. Siakam has had problems with his groin in the past. He picked up a groin injury prior to COVID, and it continued to bother him through the bubble and into the Tampa season. So there is legitimate cause for concern, especially because the injury looked pretty serious. The tentative timeline for his return is listed at 2 weeks, but that will be the timeline to be reevaluated rather than a return date carved into stone. In the meantime, the Raptors will have to make do without an extremely impactful player on the roster. Something that they actually did rather well at the beginning of last season when Siakam was recuperating from his shoulder surgery. The Siakam injury was arguably the genesis of Fred VanVleet's All-Star campaign, as he, OG, and Scottie Barnes worked together to keep the Raptors afloat. Unsurprisingly, in Sunday's game versus the Bulls, that formula was on display yet again, with Scottie, Fred, and OG all having good to great games in a convincing home win against a better-than-average Bulls squad. At times, the Raptors struggled offensively, as one would expect, because Siakam's ability to put pressure on a defense is incredibly important, especially in the half-court. The Raptors had to win in a particularly Raptors-ish way, where they took an absurd 103 shots to the Bulls' 88, while shooting only 42% from the field and 27% from 3. That possession war style game plan is going to have to be cranked to the max, with offensive rebounding and steals generating fast breaks and extra possessions if the Raptors want to win against quality competition. One thing in the near future the Raptors have to look forward to is a softer schedule, with a number of games against projected lottery teams. Obviously, when missing a player that's as impactful as Siakam, no game is going to be a walk in the park. But it can't hurt the Raptors' chances at staying afloat in a competitive Eastern Conference. Could this be the silver lining that they need? We'll see. Now let's get into some quick observations about the team, starting with Scottie's development curve. Scottie had a rough training camp and preseason due to a lingering ankle injury. He was missing shots and not playing very aggressively. Thankfully, that has not been a big issue now that the games actually count, as he has seamlessly transitioned between last year's Rookie of the Year campaign and this season, where he's showing growth and increasing maturity in his role as the Raptors' secondary playmaker. The stats may look similar on the surface, but I've been impressed with his defense, fewer mistakes on offense, and his excellent three-point shooting. He's progressing very nicely, and I am impressed. Another pleasant surprise has been the play of Christian Koloko. In my preseason review of the moves the Raptors made, I expected Christian Koloko to be a little too raw offensively, too green, not quite strong enough yet to be a consistent player on the big squad. But he's proven me and others wrong with his strong play off the bench and in the starting lineup, in fact. Koloko, like many hoped, is a game changer on defense due to his excellent foot speed and impressive measurements. Players believe that they can beat him to the glass on drives, and well, no they can't. He quickly covers space and erases weak shot attempts around the rim. He does the thing that good 7-footers do, which is discourage players from trying to score inside, and as a result, the Raptors defense has looked fantastic with him on the court. Koloko does have issues. While he has great hands and catches passes and lobs well, he lacks upper body strength, meaning that his in-close shot attempts miss the mark more often than not. He also has a foul problem, which plagues almost every young rim protector in the league. Think rookie Jakob Poeltl. Both of those issues I don't foresee being long-term problems, as a weight training regimen will help his finishing ability, and experience and respect from the refs will greatly help with the fouling issue. Looking good. Lastly, I'll cover the disappointments as a 2-for-1 package. The two guys that I foresaw taking a leap this season that haven't quite done so are Precious Achiuwa and Delano Banton. Achiuwa, outside of the 2 good games he had against the Miami Heat, where he punished his former club's lack of size, has not been very good. His three-point shooting, which showed a lot of promise last season, has yet to materialize, and he's been committing turnovers due to charges because of his super quick and reckless rim attacks. His defense is still strong, but I think most people were expecting just a little bit more from him. Banton, on the other hand, looked poised to take over the ball-handling responsibilities in the second unit, but has thus far not been very effective in that role, especially in the half-court. Banton's inconsistent three-point shot lets teams help off of him and pack the paint, and he's been unable for whatever reason to break his man down off the dribble and shift the defense, something that all good playmaking guards in the NBA should be able to do. In garbage time, when the pressure is off, Banton appears to go back to the swashbuckling, confident player you might have seen in the G League or in international competitions, but when the lights are on, he seems to shrink. With both Precious and Banton, I don't think it's time to give up. I still have confidence that they can, at the very least, be capable role players, with the potential to be more than that. On the other hand, I think that they need to start converting that potential everyone sees in them into something more tangible. Fingers crossed. And that's this week's episode of Raptors Report. Apologies for the absence, but I think that the break wasn't all bad. I've gotten some helpful perspective on this season. Hopefully you didn't miss me too much. What are your thoughts on Pascal's premier performances? How about Scotty and Koloko? Let me know here in the comments and also on Twitter, where you can reach me at Raps Report. If you enjoyed the content and haven't already, please consider liking the video and subscribing, as it helps the channel out. And as always, thanks for tuning in to Raptors Report, your source for in-depth Raptors content.